In D3, you're not just limited to very angular lines. Instead, you can use the interpolation function of a line generator to draw the line a bit differently. And as well, you can use CSS to draw dashes at specific intervals. And we'll take a look at both. First, let's look at line interpolation. I have open in another tab the portion of the documentation that deals with the interpolation function, and it's called .interpolate. Now here's the way you use this. Let's go to the code and find our line generator, and that's here at line 84. Now just before the semicolon that ends this statement, create a new line and type .interpolate, open and close parentheses, and then the value will be the following. We'll go back to the documentation, and the beginning values here at each of the list items is the string that you would pass in order to interpolate the line that is being drawn. One that I like to use a lot is cardinal, and the other is monotone. But to see this really in action, we're going to use step after just to see the dramatic difference, and as well to highlight another problem. So we'll go to the code and start a string and type step dash after, and the dash is required. We'll go to the browser and then refresh, and now we can see these orthogonal lines, but underneath the area portion is not matching up. So we'll go back to the code, and we need to copy this interpolate function and paste it at the end of our area function. So paste it there, get rid of the extra semicolon, refresh, and now we can see that the area matches up perfectly with the path. Now, I don't like that in particular, just did that to demonstrate it. So go back to the code, and I like to use cardinal, change it for both the line and area, save that and refresh. Smooths it out, and as well, I like to use monotone. Save that, refresh. Doesn't look like there's a difference, but actually there's a subtle difference underneath. So you'll want to experiment with each of these, especially in the case that you're drawing splines. There you'll want to use basis. That wouldn't really be appropriate for the data that we have now. So what if you want to draw a dashed line? Well, that's done through CSS. Head to main.css. Here, we're going to affect the trend line definition because that is the class for our line. And just after the stroke width, we're going to type stroke dash dash array and then colon. And this accepts an argument of numbers that are comma separated, with each number representing the segment length of the dash. So a single number means that you'll have uniform dash lengths. I'll use 10, save that and refresh. And now you can see that the dash lengths are 10 pixels wide, and then as well, the spaces are 10. Now we can actually have different values. So we can go back to the main.css, do comma 5, comma 20. So now we'll have a dash length of 10, followed by a dash length of 5, followed by a dash length of 20, and then it will repeat to the end of the line. Save that and refresh, and you can see these non-uniform dash lengths. That doesn't look very good. Let's say I want a very finely dashed line. Go back to main.css and just type 2. Save that, refresh, and now you can see that we have a very finely dashed line. Well, then what happens if we type 1? Delete that, type 1, and we actually don't have a dashed line. We just have a solid line. I don't like that. Go back to main.css, and I'll leave it at 10. Save, refresh, and it looks very nice. And so with that, you would want to experiment with line interpolation by using the interpolate function of a line. And so that's here in index.html at the end of the line generator and the area generator. And don't forget that within the CSS file, you can set stroke dash dash array in order to create lines that are dashed with segments that are even or segments that have different dash lengths.